WCIA3 Plus. This is Tea Time with your host, Brandon Morano.
Welcome to the first episode of Tea Time. I'm Brandon Morano. With me, Big Ten All-American 2025 Byron Nelson Award winner, and he just competed in the U.S. Open, Jackson Buchannan. Thanks for being here, and thanks for taking the time, man.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it.
So, first off, you had a heck of a collegiate career. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, I want to kind of start off. What got you into golf? What got you into the sport? And, where did you find your passion from?
Yeah, it's a funny story. I grew up on a golf course, but I was never really interested in golf. I've always played baseball and basketball, and was just a sporty little kid running around, wiffle ball, whatever, kickball, whatever was going on. I was never a golfer, not a country club kid. And then, um, my sister was, dating this big football guy in high school. I really looked up to him, and he came to our house. He's like, man, if I was lived in this house, I'd go play golf every day. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. And I went out there. This was summer after seventh grade. I tried golf for the first time, and I just fell in love.
That's awesome. It kind of reminds me of me when I was younger. We lived right out by the cornfield, and I just had this old set of adult clubs, and that's all we had. And I'd just
Yeah,
be ripping them into the cornfield, and
yeah,
everybody kind of makes fun of me because of my swing. I've got a really long backswing,
yeah,
and it hangs down. I'm like, that's because I had adult clubs when I
yeah.
was young, and it was too heavy for me.
That's funny. So you always swing that way now.
Yeah, so I always swing that way. Bring driver back, kind of
Oh yeah,
way over the top, almost like a John Daly type of
yeah.
looking deal. But I don't hit it as well as him, not nearly. So
And then you do.
exactly. Well, I mean, you're getting pretty close.
Trying to, trying
Talk
to.
talk a little bit. Are there any stories from your junior playing days that you really remember that really stick out to you that are funny or just memorable?
Yeah, and one that I just thought of when you said that was funny. I just qualified for the US Open at the qualifier, and this kid came up to me and was like, "What's going on, Jackson? Congrats." And I was like, you're Charles, right? And he was someone I played with in my first tournament ever. My first tournament was I shot 87, 79 in my first two rounds of tournament golf. And it was this, his name's Charles, and he shot like 71, 71 and one or something. I was like, dude, you kicked my butt in the first tournament I ever played in. And now here I am, qualifying for the US Open. So it was funny. I hadn't seen him since, but I knew who he was. And that was a pretty funny story. And then, of course, playing with all my buddies back in Georgia, um, my Georgia team, which is like the top 8 from the state junior, go and play South Carolina. Um, and we were getting our butts kicked, and we came back on the back nine. And we have our group chat name. We still chat once in a while, called the Back Nine Savages. It was
Oh,
something
that's
like that.
awesome.
And Bo just won our state am, and then Steve won a big event, and then I qualified for the US Open, all in that group chat, and they were like, "Boy, these boys are killing it." It's funny to see that we all still kind of connect, and even though we're all on different paths.
And so where are they at? Like they're all back from, is it Dacula? Is that how you say?
Tequila,
Dacula?
Tequila. It's
Dacula.
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's not many people get it right.
Yeah, I butchered it, so I apologize.
No, you're good. It doesn't matter.
So where are they at now, and kind of where are you in? I know the goal is probably to
Hmm.
play full time on the tour.
Yeah.
Where are you at in that goal, and kind of where are they at?
Yeah, most of them graduated, and some of them kind of found their way away from golf. And, it's a hard game, so it doesn't always suit everybody. And then, so Bo's still in college at Augusta, and he won the state am, and Steve just graduated, and he won some, like APGA event for a little tour. And, so a couple of us are still going at it. Obviously, I just graduated, with the PGA Tour U. I didn't have the best semester, so I dropped outside the top 10 and into the, I think, 11th spot. So I have full PGA Tour Americas, but I'm playing in the Corn Ferry event in Springfield this week. So that's always a great opportunity. You play well there, you just you go on to the next event. So it's all up to, how I'm playing. But I have full status for Americas, and obviously the journey kind of starts there.
Have you ever played that course in Springfield before?
I did. I played last year as an amateur, and I think I made the cut. I was 10 under after 2 rounds, and then
It's really
finished
good.
13 under for like a T38 or something.
Okay, okay. Well, let's hope for a better finish this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be pulling for you. Um, so talk a little bit about I guess let's just jump into Oakmont.
Yeah.
You know, did before we get to how hard the course was, did you guys get caught up in like the day to day, just talking to people like, the conversation was what would a so and so handicap shoot here? What would a
Yeah.
10 handicap shoot here?
Yeah.
What would a single handicap shoot here? Did those conversations happen amongst you guys?
I mean, yeah, of course, because we're playing the course and we're like, this is going to make us look like idiots, and we have to bring up the conversation that we're not as bad as this course is going to make us look. So it's like, you got to be honest with people and let them know. Watching on TV does not give Oakmont the credit of the beast course it is and how intimidating some of those tee shots are, even though they look wide with no trees. Those fairways are just narrow, and if you miss the fairway, you're hacking it out 20 yards. So, I mean, I just if you put a 10 handicap in the US Open, played from the tips, I mean, you're looking at like a 140 probably.
140.
Like I just think it's that hard, and if you've never played out a rough like that, and I'm saying under US Open pressure, he's playing out there with your boy,
Right.
you're looking more 110 probably.
Okay, okay. I would
Just because
I would take that there in a heartbeat.
it's so dang hard, and you can't really comprehend it until you get out there, and it almost the course has like a personality. It's like staring you in the face. You're like, all right, chill. I'm not gonna. You're
Yeah,
like,
it's you,
holy.
yeah, it's like you're in a relationship with it or something.
Yeah. I mean, every hole you step up, you're like, all right, if I hit one bad shot, I'll leave with a bogey. And if I hit four good ones, I'll leave with par. So it's like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's just really no room for error
No room
almost.
for
Yeah,
error.
because I,
And
I I watched before I watched Bryson's video.
mhm,
He had like a practice round
yeah,
playing at Oakmont. I watched that video and I saw the rough, and it reminded me. I covered the 2018 PGA Championship at Bellerive
yeah,
in St. Louis area,
yeah,
and we got to play for the media like the month before it. So the
yeah,
rough was still grown up, but I don't think it was quite. It definitely wasn't quite, but
yeah,
it was so much that. I'm usually 8 iron from 150. I'm pulling a 6 out and I'm hacking it 45 yards,
yeah.
right out of the rough. It's just so hard to get out of them.
No.
I don't think people get that.
Imagine that rough double, that's probably what Oakmont was.
Yeah, I mean that's insane, and it's not the rough is grown up 5 inches
Yeah,
and it's fallen over.
yeah.
It's grown up 5 inches and it's stiff grass.
Yeah, they make sure to stand it up and the ball drops all the way down to the soil. And every time it was so funny. It's be like every time I'd get in the rough, every time I go up there, I'm like, holy crap, this is so thick. And then I hack it out, make my bogey or par, and then be like, forget about it. And then I hit it in the rough again. I'd be like, I keep forgetting how thick this stuff is. It's impossible to have grass this thick. And it's just and it's crazy that I'm standing here 2 feet to my left is fairway, and here I'm unplayable. It's like it's just
Yeah,
nasty.
I mean, was it a game? What was was the rough the hardest part?
Um, I mean, yeah, yeah, it is. Like if the rough wasn't thick, probably 7, 8 under would win. Um,
Okay.
so the rough is definitely. I mean, the greens are so good, but they're so slopey. So it's like. I think the speed of the greens isn't, the toughest part. It's more the slope of the greens. And once you get in the rough, you don't really have a shot. You just kind of, even a green side, you're just trying to get it on the green and two putt and leave with your bogey. Um, I gained, like my stats, I gained in all three out of the four, chipping, putting, or short game putting and approach. And my driver just completely failed me, and it just
Oh,
out there, the first thing you have to do is drive it well before you do anything else. So, the driver caught up to me, and I just couldn't hang in there. So I gotta straighten that out a bit. But
what yeah, I'm kind of looking here on your rounds for the Open. What holes do you remember like pretty vividly?
I remember everything.
Oh
I
wow, okay. So like
I could
photo
take you through every round if you both rounds.
wow, that's insane. Okay, so let's talk about the birdie on two
Yeah.
in your second day on the
Second day?
on the par four. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was early on in my second round. I'd bogeyed the first hole, but everyone was bogeying the first hole. It's such a hard hole, and it being my first hole, I was like, all right, get the bogey out of the way and let's get going. And I birdied two the day before, and it was a 3-iron off the tee, which was huge for me because I wasn't driving it well. Got it in the fairway, tricky little wedge shot. A lot of people were making bogeys from there, and I hit a good one to maybe, I don't know, 12 feet, probably 10 feet, and rolled it in. And that's when I was like, all right, the nerves are gone. Let's get going. But the driver failed me on the next couple of holes, and I was digging myself a hole.
And yeah, one thing I noticed just looking at this, you didn't have I'm double checking myself. You didn't have a double.
No doubles, just bogeyed me to death because I was doing everything well except driving. So I'd chip it out and play well from there and make my par if I didn't hit it in the rough.
Yeah.
Just
What
never.
going back to the rough, one more question about that. I just thought of interested to know what was it one club out of the rough every time because it was so thick to get out
Yeah.
of, or was it, I mean, are you trying to judge distances at that point, or are
No,
you just trying to
I
hack?
I never hit anything other than a 58 or a 54 degree wedge. There wasn't enough. There was too much grass to hit anything really more than maybe if you had a bad lie, maybe a gap like a 50 degree. Other than that, you had to get loft, had to get it up and out. But sometimes I got a good lie and could grab maybe a 9 or 8 and really push it up there, but it was
Right.
not often. I don't think I did that at all. Um,
How how was playing like that for you? Because you're so used to, like just seeing I haven't admittedly, seen a lot of your full rounds, but
yeah,
like seeing your highlights and watching the kind of way you played at
yeah,
during the Big Ten tournament at Atkins, you seem to be a pretty aggressive player, like and you seem to hit your spots well, at least you did in the Big Ten tournament. Was it kind of weird? Did you have to change your mentality kind of
oh yeah.
totally all around to try to play this course?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody that ever, no matter how good you are, when you play at US Open, your mindset completely changes, your mentality changes. It's the hardest test all year, every single year. It's always the hardest test, and bogeys are not going to kill you. So it's like first hole of the week, I overhook it, I'm nervous, and I'm on the left rough of 10. We started on 10, and I have such a bad lie. First hole of the week, such a bad lie. I was like, my first go was like, I can get this over. I can get this up into the fairway and roll it up 40 yards short of the green. And as me and my caddy are talking about it, we keep looking at the line. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can get this over there. And so we go out left. I chip it 8 yards left onto hole 11. And the fairway on 11, I don't know if you watch, is so sloped. It couldn't stay in
Hmm.
the fairway on 11, so it rolled in the first cut. And I'm like, I'm already getting Oakmont already on the first hole. So, but I chipped it out left further away from the hole, which was such a weird mentality change. I would never do that. So it's just it's accepting that Oakmont and the US Open is the best challenge you're ever going to face, and just taking some of those pills, those medicines, just chipping out left wherever it is. And we did it on the first hole of the week, and I made par. So I set the tone early, but the driver just couldn't hang in there.
I got you. And okay, let's compare. I mean, somebody just goes out and plays around a golf at the local muni, right? Somebody that's just getting into it. This is for all these for everybody that's watching that's just into the sport.
Yeah.
When they see you play on a course, let alone not a major championship, a just a normal PGA Tour event, How much harder do you think, if you had to average it out, would a PGA event be in strokes gained or not strokes gained, strokes lost for the amateur?
Oh,
And
that
like if you had to average it out,
oh man. Like if you compare like if you play a normal round of golf versus playing in a PGA Tour event,
yes,
oh, like how many strokes that would hurt them?
yes,
Oh, a lot more than you'd think.
that's
Um,
kind of what I was wondering. Yeah,
um, let's see. I'd probably say it hurt you maybe 15 extra shots.
15 extra shots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, you're talking what? I mean, usually add, is it about 6 to 700, or am I low there?
What?
6 to 700 yards. Is that
Like,
about
yeah.
is that about right? Or
Yes.
okay. Um, yeah, I mean, so okay,
I
sorry,
mean,
back to
yeah. If you play like a normal tee box at a like a Muni course somewhere, yeah, probably
okay,
six.
okay. Back to Oakmont real quick. I think we kind of covered the course. Oh, I'd like to talk about the greens before we get into, if, I'd like to know just personal stories if you had
Yeah.
any really cool stories as well. But let's kind of talk about the greens first. I mean, they're super tiered. The undulation is,
Oh yeah.
what like when you're going through your process, kind of describe your approach process to
Yeah.
me. Are you, where are you aiming? Is it aim small, miss small, or
It's I mean, in the practice round, you're a little overwhelmed when you're going out to play. You're like, oh my gosh, there's no flat place on this course. Like, where are they going to put the pins? How am I going to play this hole? It's a bit overwhelming, but when you got out there on the event, you're like, all right, the pin's here. We don't have an option. Let's get this ball to somewhere below the hole, which means you're working uphill. So wherever that was, that's where we were trying to get the ball to finish. So hole 10 was front right the first round. We're trying to get this past and left because that green works front to back. So we're trying to get past the hole, which it'll get there because the green is so excessive. So you want to work back up the slope, and wherever that was, that's where everyone was trying to get the ball. Because if you're above the hole, working downhill, side hill, you're just hanging on for dear life.
and what's your advice to beginners when it comes to putting? Is there like I don't know where I picked it up, but I was always told the tip, like pretend the ball's on the face of the putter and you're just kind of throwing it.
Hmm.
Is there any tips that you've got?
Putting is I think the coolest part about golf. It's such a weird part of the sport. You're rolling, it's the final part of the hole, and you're rolling a little ball on some grass that's imperfect, and you're trying to drop it in a hole. So it's like everybody does their own thing. I'm super feel guy. The only practice I do in putting is just putting. I just go out. It's like shooting hoops. I go out and I putt, and I just putt, putt, putt. Coach Small always said that. Steve Stricker would always just putt, putt, putt. No, drills, tees, mirrors, any of
So
that.
you don't mess with any of that.
I'm maybe a mirror once in a while just to check
Okay.
setup, but then I'll toss it away and just putt, 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 putt. Um, because that's just how I putt. When I putt, I don't, do anything specific. I go through my routine and I just roll it as good as I can and let the imperfect green, understanding that the green is imperfect and you're not gonna make everything. Just hitting the putt as good as you can and accepting the best putters. Typically, I've heard Brad Faxon say this, and a couple other guys. The best putters are typically the guys you want to go get dinner with.
Yeah.
They never bring a super bad attitude. Um, I sometimes have bad body language, but if you were in my head, you would be like, all right, we're making this next one. But sometimes I'll kind of drop my head, but that's just me being disappointed. Like Tommy Cool used to always say, dude, your body language is so bad when I'm playing behind you, I'm like, dude, just let me go. I'll be all right. Um, but yeah, it's super mental. And I would say just accepting that you're going to miss putts. Even if you miss an 8 footer and you deep down felt like you hit a good putt, there should be zero reason why you get frustrated or anything. It's just that's golf and you're not going to make everything. And I can't really give any tips because I just putt. I don't really know how. I just
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think, that's the biggest thing, I think, for at least the amateurs that, all of us that play together, everybody that I play with, if they have a blow up round, it's because they're getting upset over,
yeah.
that they're
Oh
not
yeah. Yeah.
making everything. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, you hit a great putt. You put it
Yeah.
within the 2 feet. You save yourself a three putt,
Yeah.
but it's all about how you look at it. And I love
Yeah.
that.
And I bet if you watch me, you'd be like, oh, there's some method to his madness, and he must be doing something like calculating or something. I've done it
Right.
so many times, and I've got very good hands, playing second base growing up. It's like something I take pride in my game are my hands and my hand eye. And I really just rely on that when I get on the green and I just hit the ball. I just putt it and I try to get it as close as I can.
That's awesome, man. Okay, back to Oakmont. This is the last question about that, and then we'll get into some other stuff. What any personal stories you get to meet anybody, any like childhood, anybody you looked up to on
I mean,
tour, anything like that?
it's weird. Like I'm playing against all these guys, so it's hard to be like, let me get a picture. Like I'm competing against these guys, so it's like you got
Right.
to respect them. And even though I'm young and look up to them, they respect me because I'm out there competing against them. But
Exactly.
like you know, after I finished my round, I had to go finish my second round on Saturday morning because the final hole got rained out, and I was just kind of cleaning up my locker. And Rory came walking in. My locker was near the champion's locker, and he was just walking back and forth, chatting it up. We were, said good morning. It's like this is just so weird. I'm just chatting with Rory, and then Scotty came into player dining with his little kid Bennett.
Oh,
Eating. He was like, "What's going on?" And obviously, like he can tell that I'm probably a young pro or a young amateur that qualified for the U.S. Open. Like it's pretty out. You can tell who's who and who's the young guys that are just getting started. So, gives me a nod and says play well this week, buddy, and like stuff like that. So it's just weird. And then I was on the putting green and me and Scotty kept putting to the same hole by accident. It's like, and he just kept getting close to me, and I was like, all right, I don't want to get in the way of your
yeah.
putting routine. Like, I'm just putting, and he's out there with his coach. And I was just doing my thing, just putting. That's just what I always do. So that was really weird. And then actually in the rounds, I saw one of the best two putts I've ever seen in my life from my playing
Okay.
partner, Lance Simpson. Um, I don't know if you saw hole nine's green it's connected to the putting green. So
Oh, okay.
it's like, I don't know, 60 yards long, almost. It might be
That,
longer than that, which is the biggest green I've ever seen. And last hole of our first round, he hits it left, rough, left of the hazard, has a good lie, hits it way over the green onto the putting green. And he's on the middle of the putting green. He's got like 130-foot putt through all these different valleys. And I mean, this was like, I
like
was
a what? Triple, quadruple breaker? What do
Oh
we?
my, I mean, maybe a nine breaker.
Oh,
And I was like, all right, if he three putts this, that's a good three putt. Because I was 20 feet away, 23 feet away from the hole. And I was like, this would be a great two putt. Because this pin was on such a slope and I was down in the valley. I had to putt up and go down. I was like, all right, this could be a good two putt. And I'm 25 feet. And he two putted from 120 something feet. It was,
that's insane.
I had never seen anything like it. I would have put a lot of money on the table. He would three putt or even just put it off the green because I don't know. He did it, and I've never seen anything. Those greens are just insane.
And I almost forgot to ask you about this. That's probably about the last thing we got time for. But how cool was it? You had a buddy on the bag, right?
Yeah. Yes. Sam was on the bag. He had caddied for me. So the two previous US Open qualifiers, last year I made it, and then the year before we bogeyed the last to miss it. So he'd always just been a thing to qualify or caddy for me in the US Open qualifier. And then last summer we were like, all right, I'm just an amateur. Why don't you come on the bag for these pro events? The John Deere, the Memorial Health, the US Open. Um, and he did that, and it was great. And then we went this year. We were like, all right, you can caddy for me the U.S. Open qualifier. We'll see how it goes, and then I'll probably go to a pro caddy, and kind of feel it out from there. But we shot 18 under in
Oh,
the
wow.
qualifier, so it was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
18 under?
18 under in 2 rounds. So we just kept him on the bag. And I think he's really good for me. I'm excited about our teamwork, and there's a lot he needs to learn, and just in the caddying department, and a few things to do that pro caddies do well. But other than that, I love the teamwork that we have, and I'm kind of excited to see how that goes because a lot of guys go to pro caddies when they turn pro, but
Right.
um, I think he can turn into a pro caddy, and I think we could get something good going. So we'll see.
You guys are going to stick it out then.
I think so. Yeah, we'll see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jackson, hey, thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah.
taking the time.
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Some funny stories.